Good afternoon, good evening to the Don Valley Stadium in Sheffield. And after a glorious sunny morning in West Yorkshire, started to rain about an hour before the game in South Yorkshire, and they've had quite a lot of rain earlier on this morning. Halifax Blue Sox against the Sheffield Eagles for important league points. Sheffield looking to get back to winning ways after losing 2 out of the last 3 against Saints and Warrington. Halifax have won 2 out of the last 3. Broncos and Wigan. John Connolly just having a word with Gavin Clinch. Changes made to the teams this afternoon. Sheffield, Watson at fullback, Cardoza, Powell Senior and Crowther, Jeff Hardy, Martin Pearson, Steve Malloy, John Lawless, Darren Shaw, Michael Jackson, Darren Turner, Rod Doyle, Simon Baldwin, Sova Tabua, Paul Anderson and Chris Thorman on the bench. Blue Sox kick off, defending the first 6, and John Pendlebury has reverted back to half-back loose forward combination that led Halifax to such glorious feats last season. Cardis at full-back, Gibson, Andy Craig, Jamie Bloom back in the centre with David Hodgson retaining his place, no place for Nick Pinkney. This afternoon, great kick by the Eagles, the 40-20. And not to underestimate them, they beat Leeds earlier this season, and all the wins against the teams like Hull and Huddersfield haven't been too convincing. They beat Hull by 2 points, they beat Huddersfield by 4. Halifax got out of jail at the Shea on Wednesday night against the Broncos with a slim 2-point win. The Eagles with the advantage. Rest of the Halifax team, Broadbent, Rowley, Skerritt, Clark and Seal. Moana restored to loose forward, Marshall, Booving, Fearon and Allroyd on the bench. Eagles first attack, Jeff Hardy, who's in his second spell at the Don Valley, moving the ball out wide, trying to catch Halifax early on. And the Eagles looking for the first try. They're a metre away from the Blue Sox line, looking for the first points. Ball out wide to Rod Doyle. Rod Doyle out to Darren Shaw. Look at the gods again here at the Don Valley. Really could have done with a pair of binoculars. Last tackle, Halifax have defended well. But there's still another one to hold out for. Kick on the ground may cause problem. Chances here, and it's Dale Cardoza. Pearson's kick into the corner, bounce up for Cardoza. Halifax hanging back, the ball skidding along a greasy service, and Cardoza with first points for the Eagles.
A try for Sheffield Eagles.
And it's only taken 2 minutes for Cardoza to get the Eagles on the scoreboard, 4 points to 0. And Pearson with the difficult kick off the touchline.
Sheffield Eagles 4, Blue Sox 0.
John Keir's programme notes said that Pearson taking over that scrum half role. One of a posse of former Halifax players now at the Don Valley. Dave Watson, Dio Powell, Martin Pearson, John Lawless, Michael Jackson, Simon Baldwin, and Pearson against his old club from the touchline. Did it so many times in the Blue Sox colours, now does it in the colours of the Eagle. Pearson's conversion, and the Eagles lead
Martin Pearson
by 6 points to 0. Halifax restoring, Halifax coach John Pendlebury restoring Chester and Moana to their rightful positions along with Clinch, but the early signs are not good. Halifax did the defending for the first 5. Marvellous kick that put the Eagles in the attacking position. Halifax hanging back off Pearson's kick. Cardoza sliding over in the corner, and despite the fact that there's blue sky in the distance and some breaks in the cloud coming over, the rain still falls at the Don Valley, and Halifax supporters will know what happens to Halifax when they play in the rain. And Lawless kicks it down, it's off the boot of Hodgson, but Hodgson is closed down by Darren Shaw, who was chasing the kick, and the Blue Sox in their own half of the field. Cardis, who was named Halifax man of the match on Wednesday. More influential players of the new signings so far for Halifax, along with Paul Broadbent, former Eagles player. Danny Seal starts the game. Carl Gillespie rested for Halifax Blue Sox. No Pinkney. Allroyd has been put on the bench. Still struggling to find any sort of form. Rowlett with a little chip down towards Watson. And Watson will have to play that, loses his footing. Conditions not quite as bad as they were at the McAlpine Stadium last night. Huddersfield and St Helens turning in. Both teams magnificent performances in such conditions. The rain looks as though it's beginning to abate a little bit. But we've had heavy thunderstorms in this area earlier this morning. Halifax will have done any pre-match training in the sun. But Halifax and the Sheffield Eagles will have done theirs under the umbrellas. Cardiff away from Pearson. Cardiff still going across the field, then straightening up. Good run clearing the lines from Cardiff, tackled by Darren Shaw. And Gibson quickly round the outside, stepping, dropping the shoulder, but the Eagles moving up quickly. Joe Connolly, referee this afternoon. Andy Craig trying to turn his back, but not fooling Darren Shaw. Now Paul Broadbent, almost up to halfway. Kelvin Skerritt on the charge. Good tackling. Looking to see what it is. Rowley goes for the kick again. Come off an Eagles player. Back off an Halifax player, Martin Moana, into the arms of the Sheffield Eagles. Moving it out wide very quickly. Senior out wide to Crowther. Not short of pacing Matt Crowther. Halifax moving forward. John Connolly allowing them. And Watson going across the line of the Halifax defence. Not making any ground forward. Tackles moving, Chester and Clark. Now with Steve Malloy. He's brought down just short of halfway. Jeff Hardy up quickly out to Senior. Senior releases to Crowther. And Crowther's forced backwards into his own half. Good tackling there from Danny Single. Troubling Crowther, pushing him back. Pearson gets the kick in. That bounces over the head of Damien Gibson and goes into touch. Not 40-20 this time though. The Eagles quite happy to play the 5 and for Pearson to push Halifax back. And we'll know all about the kicking game. Both sides able to reveal the coaching methods of John Keir and John Pendlebury. Of course, with the ex-players they contain. Halifax come away with the ball. Good ground made there. I'm not sure who that was. John Connolly will give the penalty for the high tackle. The recipient. Shot. Jamie Bloom. I think he was made that last run. I think he'll be reverting to the roving role which John Pendlebury gave him last season. David Hodgson makes 10 into 2 Eagles defenders. Hardy one, Michael Jackson the other. And Halifax are up to the 40. Well, normally the red zone is on the 20, but here at the Don Valley it's on the 40. Rowley takes no notice. Brilliant run by Paul Rowley, who's had the ball in his hands on a couple of occasions and been forced to kick. This time they held off, perhaps expecting the kick. Rowley made a darting run, which has put pressure on that Eagles line, looking for a quick reply to that first score. Long ball out wide from Clint to Chester. Cardiff in the line, trying to duck under the tackles, can't get away though. And Halifax lose 10 metres. And Cardiff has gone down awkwardly, or been fallen on. Ball will be played on the last tackle. Flinge puts one up in the air, that one bouncing close to that in-goal area, but well taken out of the air by, well, it looks like Crowther. Senior helping out the forwards, coming inside. John Connolly just stopped in play while Cardiff is moved out of the way. And it looks as though that might be the end of this afternoon's action for Darryl Cardiff. He's knocked off the field by the Halifax physios, so on will come David Bouvet. dispense with the tracksuit on the far side of the field. Well, surprised that Graham Allride hasn't made an early entrance, but Bouveng will slot into the centre spot with Gibson going to full-back. Well, he hasn't. David Hodgson has gone back to full-back. Originally signed as a full-back from the whole area, so he'll not be out of position. Good pressure from Clinch on Pearson, seeing the danger that Pearson has caused with a kick previously. That one will pose no threat as it goes over the dead ball line. It will come back to the 20. Clinch forcing Pearson into the snap kick. Too much meat behind it. Ball going dead. Pearson again trying to pin Halifax back after the 5th tackle. Skerritt, well, not even making 10. Meeting the Eagles' defence halfway between Malloy and Lawless. Broadbent, captain of course when the Eagles won at Wembley last season. Danny Seal trying to get underneath. Back to within 10 metres halfway.
Number 14,
There's Clark showing the ball and then being swallowed up in the tackle. Clinch down towards Watson. Well, that ball hasn't gone into touch. Watson thought he was going to do, but the chase is there and it's good from the Blue Sox. Eagle players still coming back into position. Cardoza, the try scorer, not giving any space this time. Wrongly clattering him. Cardoza making yards. Well, stealing yards at the play of the ball. It'll be a penalty to the Blue Sox. Well, it was here when he opened the try scoring. He could be a villain now if Halifax managed to convert this pressure into points. Well, they've opted for the kick at goal. Gavin Clinch. Sensing perhaps he's spending too little time in this Eagles quarter of the field. He wants to put points on the board. And he replied to that early try from Cardoza. About 12 minutes gone. Sheffield Eagles lead by 4 points to 0. And Pearson's kicking has constantly put Halifax down in their own quarter of the field. Clinch with Halifax's first real chance at points. Clinch from 15 metres out, 15 metres to the left hand side of the post, right footed kicker. Flag's blowing at the other side of the field, but no problem for Clinch. First points for Halifax.
Penalty for Halifax Blue Sox, scored by Gavin Clinch, number 7.
Clinch on the scoreboard, so are Halifax with their first points. Gavin Clinch's penalty puts the lead to 6 points to 2. Well, the rain looked to be abating earlier on, now possibly getting heavier again.
Sheffield Eagles 6, Halifax Blue Sox 2.
As Pearson kicks, Clinch knocks it backwards. Skerritt picks it up on his own line and brings it back out 15 metres. Good running by the Halifax captain. Hardy and Jackson there as the tacklers. Hodgson unable to break through the tackle, Darren Shaw. Now Broadbent running at pace. 2 men around him. He's trying to wrestle his arms free so he can get the pass away. There's Clark. Stepping back inside though, into trouble. 2 defenders waiting for him. Jackson and Doyle. Skerritt again. Trying to take a bit out of this Eagles defence, but Darren Shaw's done a lot of tackling for the Eagles in the opening quarter of an hour. Clinch drops the kick over the back. 2 men watching it this time after what happened last time. And the ball looked as though Watson was waiting for the ball to go over the touchline. Didn't make it. Has done this time though. The other side of the field. Halifax needing to put pressure on. Watson drives it away for the Eagles. Brought down on the 10. Pearson in quickly at acting half. And the Eagles quick to move it out wide. Making good ground to the 20, but good defending by Halifax. 3 men in there. Forcing the tackle and forcing the man back. Halifax need more of that effort though to contain the Eagles, because Pearson's kick will force them back. It was Dio Powell, the man that was on the end of that 3-man tackle. Powell and Senior, the men seen by John Pendlebury as the threat to Halifax Blue Sox this afternoon. Ball lost, went backwards, surely. Gavin Clinch will pick it up. No mistakes there, whether or not helping Halifax's cause. Ball inside from Bulving to Hodgson. Still only 17 years old. Gibson trying to find an opening in that Eagles defence. Difficult conditions for players like Gibson. Preferring the firmer ground. Clark yet to hit best form this season. There's Clark, but then again so have his teammates. Clinch back inside to Moana. Moana chips through on the bounce. Moana flicks it backwards, but Clinch loses it forward. Rowley's on the floor. Was he taken out in back play? Well, a weird play on to Moana as he picked the ball up. And Moana got it away, but Clinch couldn't keep hold of it. A Senior drives the ball over to that far side. Good tackling from Gibson. So back inside to Doyle. And Doyle makes 7 or 8 metres up towards that 40-metre line now with Darren Short. Just to see something on that other side of the field. Perhaps a swinging arm. Kelvin Skerritt's having a word with John Lawless. John Connolly is having words with Kelvin Skerritt for the swinging arm. So a chance for Martin Pearson to launch his ball from the 40-metre line.
Come on, Don Wayne, let's see you make some noise. Get behind your team this evening.
And Pearson will surely punish Halifax with a kick. And he has done with a 40-metre one. Another chance for the Eagles to pressure that Halifax line. Malloy almost losing it there, managing to keep hold and making his way up towards that 20. Watson into the line from full-back. And Watson looking more this season the player that made him such a big impact when he was Halifax player. Hardy kicks through. Come off Hodgson's hand, that's going to be a try for the Sheffield Eagles. And again, it's David Hodgson, who's the unlucky man in the wrong position. Well, another chance of pressure from the Eagles on the Halifax line.
Sheffield Eagles, number 17, Michael Jackson, ex-Blue Sox.
And it's Michael Jackson who's moved.
They can believe your eyes with Specsavor Opticians, Crystal Peak, Sheffield.
Michael Jackson, the second former Halifax Blue Sox player to score against his old club. And David Hodgson unlucky, the bounce, and Halifax trailing at the Don Valley by 10 points to 2. John Pendlebury was looking to continue the form we saw the Blue Sox beat the Eagles 3 times last season. At Don Valley this year, and of course at Northampton in the on the road series. Pearson strokes another one over. Halifax are up against it.
Conversion for Sheffield Eagles by number 20, Martin Pearson, sponsored by Albert Goulet.
And although conditions will be assisting, it's the kicking that's causing Halifax's problems. The Utes 40-20 from Pearson early on that set the Eagles up in the scoring position. This time Jeff Hardy only on the second or third tackle. Jackson chasing onto it. One of the fastest second rowers in the business is Michael Jackson. Blue Sox trailing 12 points to 2 to the Eagles. 20 minutes gone.
Sheffield Eagles 12, Blue Sox 2.
Well, Halifax were deemed to be a fine weather team, but perhaps it's a Sunday team they want to beat. They haven't played on a Sunday for quite some time now, haven't the Blue Sox? So they can neither play on a Sunday nor can they find the form. Looking to a win today to push for the top 5 hopes, but it's the Eagles who are on top at the moment. That's a try scored of Michael Jackson, having the shirt pulled over his head, finally forced to the ground by Rowley and Skerritt. Joe Connolly sees those the last tackle. Pearson goes for the 40-20 again. Gibson back for it. 3 defenders in front of him though, joined by a fourth, and Gibson only gets back to the 20-metre line. And Halifax players slow to get back into position, which will mean Bouveng bringing it away. No forwards there to charge it up. Andy Craig, nowhere to go, wrapped up by Dio Powell and Steve Malloy. Danny Seal making inroads into the Sheffield defence, yet to reach halfway though. Chester puts one into the corner, forces Crowther back to within 5 metres of his line. 3 chasers there. First one there's Chester. Good tackling. Halifax might need to resort to this, but they must put pressure on the Eagles' defence, and especially on Martin Pearson if it gets to the 5th tackle. Cardoza going down the short side from the acting half position. Moana, Bouveng and Craig all taking a part in that tackle. And Dave Watson up to the 40. And making himself difficult to put down. Lawless to Malloy. Malloy dropping the shoulder and trying to step inside. Gets the Eagles back into the Blue Sox half of the field. Look for Pearson again for the kick. Clark went for it. Hodgson under pressure. And Hodgson loses it again. It comes off Pearson. The referee says they're going for the knock-on, and the Eagles will get possession. And David Hodgson having all sorts of problems at full-back, tested by Pearson. And I'm sure he's going to be tested again in the very near future if the Eagles get possession. Well, been unlucky with the ball on the ground twice. But that one, no pressure on him really, the young full-back. The Eagles quickly over to that far side, stacking men, ball back inside. Eagles still going forward, 5 metres away from the Blue Sox line. And Halifax desperately defending. The 2 visits that the Eagles have had down towards the Halifax line have both brought tries. And now they're looking for the 3rd one. Halifax up against it, long ball out wide to Dio Powell. Powell inside, pushes Craig away. And Craig comes back to lend his assistance in the 3-man tackle. Still the Eagles 5 metres away. Hardy to Pearson. Pearson the drop-off ball. Last tackle. Halifax stacking men round under the post. Pearson going for the kick again. Gibson under pressure. And Gibson forcing the ball dead, so the ball will come back under the post for the drop-out. So the pressure not yet off for the Halifax Blue Sox. And the Eagles will attack the Halifax line again. Splint drops out looking for distance, only makes 40 metres. Ball inside to Darren Shaw. Stopped initially by Clark, bit of assistance from Rowley. Jeff Hardy gets the ball back inside to Powell, who pushes Seal off. Powell goes forward, but he's put down eventually. Gavin Clinch wrapping himself up around Dio Powell's legs to bring him down. Good movement by the Eagles. Senior on that far side, going towards the line. Chances here for Senior, can't get the ball down. He's only half a metre short. Chance here though, and it looks, well, they haven't got over yet. Pressure's not off though. Eagles playing it quickly. Eagles stuck in the middle of the field. Halifax defence moving out. They've done well there to push the Eagles back. Danny Seal is down on the floor at the other side, perhaps a result of putting himself down under that tackle. Kick through from Pearson, not causing trouble this time. Swept up by Gibson at the back. The senior has popped up on this side of the field to make a tackle. That's Craig, got the pirouette. Didn't make him any more yards though. Eagles defence have sensed that Halifax are on the rack a bit, and they're doing all they can to contain him. Paul Broadbent running off the shoulder of Paul Rowlett, making yards but going diagonally. Connolly signals the last tackle. Plinge goes for the 40-20. Nowhere near the touchline though. Crowther able to pick it up easily enough. And then tackle 5 metres from the halfway line. 25 minutes gone, 12 points for 2 to the Sheffield Eagles. Hardy turns it back inside to Short. So I'll put down 2 metres away from the halfway line. Lawless to Malloy. Needs 3 to bring Malloy down. A Lawless trademark run from acting half. Eagles lying deep. Watson up from full-back, having to go on his own. The runners are already set off. Long ball out to Crowther on that far side. Ball comes down. Danny Seal picks it up. Recovered from that earlier knock. When the Eagles threatened, it looked as though the try had been scored. David Hodgson. Looks as though he may have swapped places with Damien Gibson. Gibson cleared up at the back at full-back from that last kick. Moana. Stray pass out to Andy Craig. Craig sets off back inside, gives it to Gibson. Gibson to Seal. Halifax throwing the ball out but making no ground, stringing 3 or 4 passes together. Rowley sets off on his own again from the active half, but the Eagles defence not giving him any space after they saw what he did to him earlier on with that run. Crowther picks that one up, kick non-effective again from Clint. Clint pinches it though, and Clint is going to score the try from Halifax. Matt Crowther is looking for a big hole to swallow him up, and Gavin Clint, who does that, he did it twice against Wigan, and Matt Crowther really just waited for a big hole to swallow him up there, as Gavin Clint rents the ball from his grasp, just what Halifax needed. Crowther intent on clearing the lines, They're thinking more about striding over Clint, and Clint disappears with the ball from 30 metres or 20 metres out, under the post. Halifax back in it, lead up to 6 points. Clint, the scorer of all Halifax's points so far, and the Sheffield Eagles now lead Halifax Blue Sox by 12 points to 6. And this should be 12 points to 8 with Clint in front of the post. It's 27 minutes gone or so. Trailed for long periods of the match against the London Broncos, and they've done so for quite some time now. The try and goal from Clint has brought Halifax Blue Sox back into this match. Sheffield making a change. Michael Jackson going off. Simon Baldwin it is. The other former Halifax player who comes on. Two men walking towards the bench. It's not Crowther actually making his way back over to that wing. So all is not lost for Halifax. The touch of brilliance again from Gavin Clint, pinching the ball from Crowther. Chester leaving it for Broadbent. Broadbent makes it back 15 metres, but that's a penalty. Raises the ire of the Sheffield Eagles fan with 2 men in there when the tackle was made and the ball pulled out. So there should be a chance for fairly easy yards here for Jamie Bloom. Launches that one over the tracks at the other side of the field.
Substitution for the Sheffield
David
Eagles. Number
Hodgson
21,
takes the
Simon
first drive
Baldwin
up.
on. Number 17, Michael
Clark.
Jackson off.
Up towards halfway. Moana. Good pass, but Moana didn't take it cleanly, so he had to straighten up and run. Broadbent up to the Eagles' 30-metre line. Halifax making it over the advantage line now. Flynn will not keep hold of that one. Chester out to Clark. Clark turns it back inside. Jamie Bloom. Pass was good. Bloom couldn't keep hold of it. Halifax surrender possession. That must be a knock-on. So Halifax gifting the Eagles possession, and the Eagles gifting it right back. High overhead looks a bit like it, but the rain hasn't stopped yet as Bloom drags forward, running to the stand-up position. Long ball out wide to Clark, who steps back inside. Saw a little bit of a gap with the Eagles defence moving quickly to close him down. Broadbent trying to push the Blue Sox nearer towards that Eagles line. Flynn switches the play over to Moana. Moana, strength and power, takes him to within 5 metres of the Eagles line. He's a boot in the process when somebody has. As Clark drives forward to within a metre. 2 men stop him dead, a metre out. Last tackle, Clinch, little chip through on the floor. This could cause problems. Cordoza is forced to run it over the dead ball line. Good pressure there. Very narrow in goal areas here at the Don Valley. But Cordoza already really aiming in that direction when he picked the ball up. And the pressure from Halifax Blue Sox forcing him to run touching goal.
Come on, Don Valley, get behind.
He'll drop out under the post.
Make some noise.
Pearson will be, so expect a lot of yards here. Long kick, which Chester drops, went backwards, says John Connolly. Sheffield Eagles supporters don't agree. Well, plenty of officials now to help John Connolly if it was needed, and none of them indicated the knock-on. As Gibson's brought down on the Sheffield 40. Clark went close just a minute ago, dropped a metre short of the Eagles line. And Halifax looking to move it out wide. Chester turns it back inside to Skerritt, but that one spotted. Big hits there from the Sheffield defence. Not Kelvin Skerritt. Long ball to Clinch. Clinch chip through. Chances here for Bouveng if he can get to it. Bouveng keeps it in play, chips it forward. Watson lets it run over the dead ball line.
Ball sponsor, Dave Hartgate Rotherham, and the programme sponsor this evening is Pegasus Protection Limited. I would also like to thank LG Electronics, Mansfield Brewery, Jayco Tooling and Curry's
Halifax
Chesterfield
in
Road.
possession. Not the right time for players to listen to who the match, the ball and the programme sponsors are. Come to a rather quick and abrupt end as Halifax attack the Eagles line again. 6 minutes to go in the first half. 12 points to 8 a lead for the Eagles. As Moana tries to go underneath.
Sheffield Eagles, number 16.
Powell sticking to him. Broadbent rushes Pearson away. Another change for the Eagles. Paul Anderson on, Steve Malloy off. Chester opening up wide outside again. Gibson towards the corner. Brings Hodgson on the inside. Hodgson brought down 7 metres away. Last tackle again. With the Blue Sox pushing against that Eagles line. Clinch goes for the chip through. Play on, says referee John Connolly. Halifax with 12 men in defence as Clinch gets up off the floor. Realising not getting the decision from Connolly. So quickly to his feet. Blue Sox trying to push the Eagles back. Senior brought down on the 10-metre line. The Eagles being put under pressure by the Blue Sox defence. making it to the 15-metre line. A bit too much pressure, says John Connolly. Halifax concede.
Nicola Simonite, please come down to pitch side at half-time. Thank you.
Penalty for the flop. Sheffield drummers have decided to get the crowd going, but they need something. This match by no means spectacular. Eagles clinging to that 12 points to 8 lead with less than 5 minutes to go to the half time. Ball on the side, Simon Baldwin, who's brought down just inside the Blue Sox half. Feels for the penalty, perhaps the Blue Sox did hang on a little bit too long, but they got away with it. Pearson's caught with the ball, gets it away very quickly and desperately to Lawless. Long ball out to Senior, who sets off back inside. Can't break down the Halifax defence. Among the top try scorers last year, Keith Senior, still to reach those dizzy heights this season. But it doesn't matter. The Eagles are winning 12 points to 8. Andy Craig almost away with that one on the interception. The dry day may have been able to keep hold of that, but the Eagles will get a chance to push 6 more tackles towards the Halifax line from the resulting scrum. Pearson feeds the scrum. John Connolly not happy. Pearson feeds again. On that far side, Senior back on the inside, wants to get the pass away. The Eagles still putting the pressure on. Watson looking for runners. He turns it back inside. And go without the ball layer. One-on-one tackle. Forcing the ball out. So let off to the Blue Sox. Blocking there, perhaps didn't know the decision. Ball knocked out the Western Eagles player, the knock on, and Halifax get the scrum. Bloom, from loose forward there. Simon Baldwin conceding the penalty for the high tackle. Bloom wastes no time in launching the ball into touch that puts Halifax on the attack in the Eagles half of the field. Just get it with the first drive. Takes him into the Eagles 40. Robert doing well to keep hold of that one. Not the best pass from Rowley. This is Moana, gives it to Clark. Clark all on his own though. Can't escape the clutches of Jeff Hardy. Please out to Chester. Chester has Craig running round the back. Craig was on the dummy. Tackles made, a metre inside from touch on that far side of the field. Chester to Clint. Clint option shut down there, but does well to get the ball away. Last tackle again. Eagles do well. They've kept Halifax at bay on the 20. Andy Craig chips through. Crowther picks up well, gives it inside to Watson. Dangerous play in front of your own post. The defence there for Halifax. Watson going down immediately. He knew that he was being backed to
Football Club down to pitch side,
towards his own line.
Weatherby Rugby League Football Club down to pitch side. Thank you.
Powell. Halifax still having a little bit of trouble putting Powell down at first attempt. Craig and Clark managed at the second. Good tackling there from Andy Craig. Aaron Shaw put down first time. Lawless with a kick. Killing off Halifax player, but the ball played the man rather than the other way around. So the Blue Sox will get possession at this scrum. Perhaps the last one of this first half on the 40-metre line.
Also, Nicola
Simonite wastes no time in setting up the attack. Cardis has returned. Those are just trying to slow him down a bit. Flings over the top, spotting a little bit of a gap. Pressure's on here. The crowd are doing well this time to get back, save the line. Good idea from Flynn, seeing that the 40 minutes is almost up on the clock. The Perhaps not enough time left to play out the six, but he did want to spot the gap at the back. And appeals for the penalty there. Clenge having a second go, getting away with it though. And there's the referee John Connolly. Pearson launches another huge kick down towards Gibson. Gibson able to pick it up. Away from Baldwin, out towards the touchline. Hooter goes. Not a spectacular first half. Sheffield set off on the right note with a try from Cardoza, and it was a kicking that put them into a position from Pearson, and the kicking that bounced up rightly for Cardoza. Wrong footing David Hodgson, still new to Super League of course. Pearson convert from the touchline. Eagles 6 points to 0 up. Early response from Halifax with a clean penalty, which got Halifax off on the scoreboard. Then another Halifax player, Michael Jackson, before he was substituted. Again, it was the kick that caused problems for Halifax. And youngster David Hodgson, as the ball bounced the wrong way, Jackson pounced on it. Pearson, again reliable with a boot, 12 points to 2. Halifax looked to be struggling, and then Gavin Clinch took the ball from Max Rowther, raced away from 20 metres out under the post, converted his own try. 12 points to 8. James Lou trying to make yards for Halifax with a kick. The managers just 15 to 16.
By the way, if anybody wants
get
to
it
stop
running
the
off the
rain,
short pass.
John Holdsworth come out of retirement and referee this evening. You can do that.
Well, the rain stopped through the half-time break. Not that that'll make it any easier for the players, although Dennis Hill does well to keep hold of that one. This game still looking for the spark.
From 8 o'clock in the meantime, Don Valley, let me hear you get behind your teams.
Still to spark into life. Two very average teams at the moment. Average looking scoreboard. Cleans puts the kick over to Cardoza, who takes it cleanly behind his own line. Summer temperatures, almost. Certainly not summer weather. All the flags blown around this ground. But they were underfoot for almost a full day's rain on this field. Helping conditions, but this match by no means as likely yet as the one between Huddersfield and St Helens at the Halifax Stadium. It's played in Huddersfield conditions. Yesterday evening, here's a bit of a spark though from the Eagles. Managed to keep the ball alive. Hodgson tries to get hold of it. The Eagles are being penalised. David Hodgson pulled back as he went for the ball. The decision not agreed with by the Sheffield Eagles supporters. I think John Connolly, rightly listening to his touches on that occasion, it was quite clear from here. Better kick this time from Bloom. Reaches the Eagles 30. For the Blue Sox, we've come right back into this game. Don't defend but he would probably be looking for the Blue Sox to up the tempo. The Queens from Chester to try and set it up with an end roll there. He just get it bundled to the ground, but not before making 10 or 12 metres for the Blue Sox. Clinch over to this side, Chester. Runners are there, Gibson waited for that one. I didn't take it out of his hands by Andy Craig. Blue. Looks like Craig with the cycling shorts on underneath the regulation white ones. Clint goes without the ball. Halifax lose possession. And so the Eagles have to bring it away. Did a good job of it on the first set of 6. Or filling up the possession. That looked like it could have been a forward pass. Good running though. Number 16, Paul Anderson, former St Helens player. Played a lot of his rugby for St Helens from the bench. John Keir, no hesitation in snapping him up. Could have been Halifax player in the Steve Sims days. Kick to the corner. Just too far. Ball back Crowder. Looks like to give it away. First let's get it. He wins it to 3. How far Joe Connolly's going back, but the Eagles defenders are all stood in front of him. Jamie Bloom. Gets it to within 5 metres of halfway. Danny Seal puts under 1. He's brought down by Lawless. Lawless and Seal both starting their professional careers in open position at Cremorne. And Hardy coming back there, perhaps calling for that ball, which it was almost past him as it came out of the Blue Sox hand. Price for the penalty again. Blue Sox moving forward, trying to put more pressure on, but Watson running away from the approaching defenders, getting up to the 40, and Halifax are penalised for offside. Hardy wants to take the quick one.
So the big match sponsor this evening are Lantern Engineering Limited, the match ball sponsor, Daewoo, Parkgate Rotherham, and the programme sponsor this evening is Pegasus Protection Limited. I'd also like to thank LG Electronics, Mansfield Brewery,
probably within his range as the kicker, but the Eagles leading the points, only 4 in front. Could be important, those two at the end of the game. Pearson being told to kick to the touchline so the Eagles can put pressure on the Halifax line. Lawless. One ball out, goes through more hands. And Powell is brought down on the 10-metre line. Lawless turns it back to Short. And Short almost back onto his feet again. Lawless. No runners there. Gibson moved out quickly. Well, wasn't Gibson, Skerritt moved out very quickly then. Last tackle, Pearson, the chip through, came off Halifax player, and Moana is off, but the knock-on has been given. And the Eagles have possession. Well, Moana has the pace on his day to go to the full length of the field, and maybe would have done so there, and it's not been for Joe Connolly's whistle pulling him back. So the Eagles will put more pressure on that Blue Sox line. Halifax have to hold out for another 6. Pearson around the back. The Eagles trying to put on the move. Chester with a tackle. Chester on Pearson. From acting half on the 10-metre line or thereabouts. Senior with the run. Men out wide for the Eagles. Simon Baldwin looks to get the ball away, and he does. And John Pendlebury will be glad to see that it's coming to the hands of a Halifax player. Brobeck makes 10 metres, up from acting half. Draws 3 men into defence. Rowley goes from acting half, makes another 10 important yards for Halifax as they try to get away from their own line. A bit too keen. Not throwing the play the ball, says John Connolly. John Ellsworth coming out of retirement to referee a university match that takes place after this one. We're at the Don Valley. Should have been played this morning, but conditions wouldn't allow it. Skerritt charges into the Eagles' defence. A good run. Short ball from Clint. Pushing forward with Seal 12 metres away from the Blue Sox, the Eagles line. Marshall on. Clint had runners. Clark had gone the wrong way. Idea was right, execution was wrong. Clinch was tackled under the Sheffield post. Chester goes for the gap. And Moana went on the inside that time when the pass was there on the outside. And a mistake again from Skerritt, tried to go to that Eagles line. Eagles bringing it away again. Still no score in this second half. John Connolly seeing something. Wants the ball playing again. Couldn't see what happened there. Looks as though he wiped the clock, stopped the clock for some reason. We're back to the zero tackle. Jeff Hardy bringing it out of defence. Well, it was a loose forward originally when it came to the Eagles, Jeff Hardy. Now works between loose forward and stand-off. Pearson in the acting half position. Senior loses it. This could give Halifax a chance, but Pearson quickly onto Chester to make the tackle. Bloom pops it up for Clark from the acting half position. 18 metres out. Well, mistakes are plenty so far in this second half after the rain's actually stopped. Neither team yet to capitalise on that mistake and put points on the board. Andy Craig brings back on the inside. Bouvenc. Skerritt going towards the corner. Wrestling match on that far side. Assistance there in defence, and Skerritt finally put down 12 metres away. Clinch out wide to Seal. Seal to Chester. Chester to Clark. Clark drops it off to Gibson. Gibson can't find a way through. Good defence from the Eagles. Halifax still 12 metres away on the last tackle. Clinch pops one up in the air again. Cardoza under pressure. Ball forced over the dead ball line. Halifax offside. Eagles with a penalty. And I think at this stage they'll be glad of the penalty and not have to run it out. Because so far in this second half it's been all Halifax. Putting pressure on that Eagles line. Pearson happy to make 15 metres. It's fair way out from the Eagles, where the Eagles have previously had to bring it out in the second half. And the tackle's made on the 30. Baldwin loses possession. John Connolly is going to give another penalty. Says there's two men in there. Lawless takes it quickly. One or two Blue Sox players with a back turn. Eagles could take advantage. Good tackling from Seal and Rob Doyle. Well, claiming for interference at the play of the ball. Darren Turner with the headgear. Very, very close in the first half. Danny Seal injured himself as he went down to stop him. Pearson showing the dummy, then going for the gap. Brought down on the 20. Eagles pushing for points. In comes Watson. See what he can do. Watson pushing players away. Not the biggest man in Super League, but plenty of strength. Last tackle. Back to Pearson. Eagles for the flower play. Hardy. Chip through. Picked up by Gibson. And Gibson was setting over his own line, and I'm not sure whether it's a legal tackle. John Connolly says round the collar. But Damien Gibson must wear eye collars. The Eagles 12 points to 8 in the lead. And the way this game is being played, it looks as though that could quite easily be the final score. Neither team giving much away. Both teams putting pressure on. This is the first sustained pressure from the Eagles. Darren Shaw is brought down 35 metres out from the Blue Sox line. Big hit from Clark. Marshall was already round the ankles. I don't think Watson was too happy about that, but it's part of the game. Big shoulder charge, but the Eagles still pressing forward. Chester with one tackle, then a second, but couldn't manage to complete it. Senior running across the face. That looked like a forward pass. Senior gets the return. Well, 2 line balls there. Chances here on that far side for the Eagles. Desperate defence by Halifax. Good enough to hold it up. Last tackle, St John Connolly. Well, silly penalty given away. And silly possession given away. Going for the glory. Rod Doyle possibly going for that one. Well, a golden opportunity spurned there by the Eagles. All that pressure, chance to put 6 more tackles on to the Blue Sox line. And one man deciding to take matters into his own hands. Shame he didn't take the ball in both hands, losing it over the line. Andy Craig back up towards halfway. Marshall, good tackle from short. And Marshall around the ankles. Danny Fearon, who's on for the Blue Sox. Graham Allroyd also warming up on the other side. This is a tester. Good kick from Clinch, chases there. Watson underneath. It's come off Halifax player though. And a knock on. Just a knocking on as he went for the ball. Watson put under immense pressure. This was David Hodgson, was put under pressure. The same thought. The new boys and the more experience at this level of Super League. Watson, if you put him under pressure, has to jump that bit higher than anybody else. Couldn't take it cleanly, neither could Chester. Good tackling from Bloom.
Substitution
Bloom chasing the ball around again.
Number 9, Johnny Lawless off. Number 17, Michael Jackson on.
Jackson back on for Lawless. Big hit there from Marshall on Watson. And Dave Watson seems to be getting a bit upset at the big hits that are coming in from the Halifax Blue Sox. Nothing illegal about it. As Gibson picks up, then sets off back towards Baldwin. Good tackling from the Eagles. Darren Shaw and Baldwin on the 40-metre line. Rowley, good tackling again from Shaw. Offside, said referee John Connolly. Well, perhaps a little bit of frustration creeping into both sides now. Clean, pulled out by John Connolly. Then with Darren Shaw. Can't be persistent offside because he's not being allowed either side much for it really. No mark for any normal game. And actually not standing square to play the ball. Seems to be a favourite now. They give referees one rule to watch and tighten up on. And they tend to slack off a bit on one or two of the others. There's Clark. Good tackle. Clark brought down 10 metres away. Marshall unable to keep hold of possession. Halifax surrendered it. That looked like a forward pass to Senior. But John Connolly's seen something there. Richard Marshall. High tackle on Senior. Frustrated at losing the ball, perhaps Richard Marshall trying to make amends. Pearson, surprisingly, only makes 10-11 metres with a kick. So both teams with good chances to attack. Good tackle there from Rowley. Hardy all wrapped up 5 metres from halfway. Just over 20 minutes to go, midway through this second half. Here comes Watson again, turns it inside to Senior. The Senior stepping away from 2. Pressure on here for Senior. Hodgson brushed away. Senior towards the corner, gets the ball down. Well, Halifax had hold of him, they've no excuses. Senior stepped out of the grasp of the Halifax tacklers. And Keith Senior talks about his form in the first half and not hitting it yet, but he did then. Stepped on the gas. Halifax had hold of him. And they should have had him. He brushed Hodgson away, which I think gave him a little bit of momentum towards the Halifax line. And unfortunately, it's David Hodgson seems to have been halfway through all 3 tries. Unfortunately, between the Eagles one, he'll be the man in view. Each time the Eagles have scored. Although big man to stop his senior, but the Halifax Blue Sox defence already had hold of him once as Pearson pushes it to the right hand side of the post, but the Eagles have an 8-point cushion. And Halifax were on the attack at one end of the field. Marshall lost the ball and the Eagles kept hold of it, went to the other end of the field. Now lead by 8 points. Score which Halifax were losing by against the London Broncos on Wednesday evening. Seemed to spark them into life. Halifax with Chester and Bloom leading the chase for the tacklers. Pearson and quickly in half. Tackle made on Rob Doyle. Eagles still pushing forward. Darren Short. Into 3. Wants to get up and play it quickly. Halifax slowing it down and being penalised for it. Much ground with a kick again. It's gone safely into touch and the Eagles will be on the attack with Darren Short. This would be a bit of blow for John Penn, number 8, his memory to lose here. He got out of jail. They're going to be on the other end of another try here. Hardy's going for the corner. Gibson wrestling. Can't stop the power of Jeff Hardy. And that might seal the match for the Sheffield Eagles. Brilliant try from Hardy. Ripping through the heart of the Halifax defence. So Pearson's conversion may not matter at the end of this game. Halifax trailing by 12 points in the Don Valley. Brilliant try from Jeff Hardy. The results are just not coming. Pearson again off the touchline. Launches it long enough, high enough. Hasn't got the target though. So 12 points to lead to the Eagles. Gavin Clinch trying to spur his players on. It needs something. Another lacklustre performance from the Halifax Blue Sox.
Substitution for Sheffield Eagles, number 8, Steve Malloy.
Big game, of course, for all these ex-Halifax players.
And captain Darren Shaw, number
Pearson,
12, is off.
Baldwin. And Powell coming here last season. Jackson, Watson and Wallace been here a little bit longer. And even so, playing against previous clubs. Always wanted to do well. 12 minutes to go. And it's going to be an uphill struggle for Halifax Blue Sox again. The expectancy of Halifax supporters after that amazing win over Wigan has dropped down to a very subdued level. Sheffield Eagles, another penalty. And Halifax aren't helping their cause. With the amount of penalties they're giving away, Gavin Clinch just wanting clarification. Halifax started their second half putting the pressure on the Eagles' line, but again surrendered possession, and the Eagles have bounced back to a 12-point lead, one which will be unlikely to surrender. Watson had gone in and been tackled, and Swamp managed to get the ball away, and Halifax were put on the back foot again as the Eagles move it out wide. Hardy to Baldwin. Baldwin has lost possession. O'Connell is giving the penalty there for some reason. Well, that looked like a one-on-one when that ball was pinched.
So don't forget, at the end of the match, you can come down to the front pitch
Strange
side here
decision
and
from
get your
Conley, as far as I
favourite
could
players
see there.
autographs.
Looked like a one-on-one here. This, for Pearson, well within his range.
Also from 8 o'clock this evening, it is the varsity match. Hallam University against Sheffield University from 8 o'clock.
Going to give Sheffield the win if he can do this. Get this one, 14 points to lead. So Pearson is just inside the 20-metre line. About 8 yards to the right-hand side of the post. This to subject Halifax Blue Sox to another disappointing defeat. The Eagles held out under the early pressure from the Blue Sox. Pearson's missed. Sheffield will get the ball back though from the dropout, which Allroyd will take since his introduction. Relegated to the bench. Graham Allroyd. Well, not much of a kick. And it allowed the Eagles straight back into Halifax half of the field. Watson with a little drop-off pass. Problems here. Powell. Put down. Ball goes backwards. Who wants it first? Jackson. Pops it up for Watson. Watson out to Hardy. Hardy along the line. And Halifax struggling to put down. The Eagles attack on that far side. Steve Malloy. Back on for the Eagles. And here goes Jeff Hardy again with a little chip through into the corner. And it's Cardoza that will get there first. Halifax Blue Sox not reacting at all to the kick from Hardy. Try given by John Connolly. And Cardoza with his second try of the game seals it for the Sheffield Eagles. Hardy cut the Halifax defence to ribbons and broke through with his own try to touchdown. And Pearson from out on that far side missed a few this afternoon. Got that one though. And at 26 points to 8. The match for Sheffield.
Combination for the Sheffield Eagles, number 20, Martin Pearson, sponsored by Argyle Ruane.
The second half performance of the Eagles, apart from that first 10 minutes, Halifax submitted to defeat fairly easily. Poor defending, which has allowed the Eagles to move the ball about and don't get to defend fairly easily. Watson. And he's tempered down a little bit as Broadbent takes him down. Pearson unloads. Problems here. Pearson's off again over halfway. Here goes Pearson, long way to go.
Today's attendance is 3,901.
Marshall stuck to him.
Thanks everybody for a fantastic attendance down here this evening.
Well, I think the only people left in this ground are the Sheffield Eagles supporters, seen their team go to a deserved win. Halifax yet to score in the second half. And all 8 of Halifax's points coming from Bradley Cleat in the first half. Hardy a kick through again. Nobody reacting again. Andy Craig has to go behind his own line. And then
Substitution
tackled
for the
into the post.
Eagles, number 22, David Watson is off. And number 1,
But the Eagles trying to take Halifax.
Samurai to do it.
And Halifax struggling to get out of their own area. Senior bit of a tussle with Blue.
Substitution for the Sheffield
Rowley
Eagles.
from acting half caused problems in the first.
Wazza is off.
First half did Rowley. Not had much of a chance in the second half.
It was Ish.
Andy Craig stepping to, then straightening up. Still the gap closed up though by the Eagles' defence. Rowley goes for the 40-20. That'll be Halifax possession. John Connolly looks at the touch judge. And he's giving the Eagles the possession. Well, he dispute that one. Well, they definitely look to be behind that red line when he kicked the ball.
So we've got to say congratulations to Kyle Dowling for receiving the Players' Player of the Year and the Supporters' Player of the Year.
Somertabua for the Eagles.
Under-11s football team. So well done, Kyle.
Marnaldo, it's Halifax, still having trouble defending. Howell charging through, making it up towards halfway.
Substitution for the Eagles.
Pearson looking to open up Halifax on this side now as the defence was sucked in. Senior has slipped his tackle again. Andy Craig stopped with the winger. Senior's off to the corner. Good ball back inside. Another try to the Sheffield Eagles, but a double movement's being given and a penalty. And I think John Connolly perhaps letting Halifax off there. But Halifax again hanging off Senior. Nobody committing themselves to the tackle. Andy Craig he'd right to stop with the winger. And Pearson, all right, will kick the touch and makes halfway with this one. Huge kick from Graham Allright.
Substitution for the
late now for Halifax Blues.
Is off and Johnny Lawless is on.
Marshall pushing away Pearson. Doyle there as the reinforcement. Broadbent. Tackle by Jackson. Inside the Eagles out. Allright quick to get rid of the ball to Chester. Run round back to Allright. Out to Clark, who goes down on his knees, gets a good ball away to Gibson.
So yeah, the players will be in the Players' Cafe Bar after the match this evening, as they are every match. So if you want to go down there and have a drink and meet up with the players, they will be in the Players' Cafe Bar after the game this evening.
Chip through on the floor, didn't cause any problems again for the Sheffield defence. Towards the end of this game, Somertabua drives it out.
Man of the match this evening is Jeff Hardy, chosen by Derek Lawson of Lantern Engineering Limited.
Eagles with the possession.
Halifax
still trying to restrict the movement.
Watson,
good driving forward by Malloy.
Chosen by Terry Sharman.
Lawless trying to carve away through that Halifax defence. Clark hanging on to him.
Here, pitch side to get your favourite players' autographs. You can come down here to the front and get your favourite players'
Halifax
autographs
spin back with a kick.
Game this evening.
Gibson goes back, picks it up just short of his own line, but 4 men in front of him. Nowhere to go for. Gibson all wrapped up by Senior. Andy Craig will have to go from acting out because he isn't the Blue Sox player able to pass to. Trying to break through the middle. And then the break from Halifax is covered by the Eagles because Somertabua, the only man in the Sheffield Eagles half of the field. Every time the Eagles will lap 10 metres, so does Somertabua. Last tackle.
The next home game here at Don Valley is on Saturday, 22nd of May, kick-off 6:30. It's the Eagles against Salford.
Encroaching, Jamie Bloom skipping and stepping, then throwing the dummy, looking to do it all on his own. Long ball out wide to Bowman.
Friday, 14th of May, kick-off 7:30. It's the Eagles.
Eagles defence getting across again. And the ball going to ground. Went backwards, says John Connolly, and the touch judge. Marshall down the middle, Jackson for the high tackle. And Halifax will play for the 6, no point going for goal at this stage. And Moana just getting caught with the ball. Quick play, Rowley going, trying to sneak one from acting out, manages to get the pass away. Marshall straight towards the post. Brought down 5 metres away. Halifax looking for the consolation. Long ball out wide to Allright. Allright turns inside and releases. Seal loses possession. Referee says play on, then the ball goes forward. So Halifax, as they have done so often in this game, been able to control the possession. Struggle to contain the Eagles in defence, dropping off the tackles, giving far too much possession away. Senior against Andy Craig. Andy Craig equal to it this time with the assistance of Flint. 4 men in on Malloy, turning him over and dumping him to the ground. Jackson releases. Again, Sheffield get the ball away. Lawless sets off to the Halifax defence. Tackled by Marshall. Pearson out to Ardette. Solotabua linking up around the back. And Solotabua almost up to halfway. With the penalty being given against Halifax. Plenty for John Pendlebury to think about. Full formula clinched for the Moana. Failed to gel. First foot get together. Really Halifax unable to get into any sort of pattern of play as the team constantly changes. Last season's glories even further away this season for Halifax Blue Sox. Sheffield Eagles looking to improve on last season. Joe Keir said they won the Challenge Cup and thought that the season was over. Not so this season. We stream forward again with Malloy. We've stopped by 3. Lawless had from acting half. Dummy from Lawless, dropping the shoulder. Hardy on the inside, couldn't get the
Season
ball
ticket
away.
holders can exchange their vouchers for the Bradford Bulls game at Chesterfield
Simon
after the
Baldwin,
match
5 metres
evening.
away from the line.
You can also get it
said at the top of the
during the week as well.
game that the Eagles weren't to be underestimated. Despite the narrow wins over Huddersfield and Hull, they managed to defeat Leeds and they're going to manage to defeat Halifax. Pearson hands on a drop goal for good measure to that Eagles total. 27 points to 8.
Drop goal to number 20, Martin Pearson, with Argyle Rouen.
Pearson chipping in with 7. Well, the Eagles 27 points, 5 tries
Substitution
against
for the
Halifax as
Sheffield
well.
Eagles.
Time almost
Number
up.
22, Chris Thorman is on.
The Eagles come
And number
forward
19,
again with
Ron
Crowder.
Doyle is off.
Who is running diagonally. Halifax is playing out the final moments at the Don Ballet. And again, you can't really put it down to the rain, despite the fact that Halifax have proven they don't perform well in such weather. Professional players should be able to play in all conditions. It's the Eagles with the big ex-Halifax contingent amongst their ranks who have wanted this more this afternoon, as Lawless drills it towards the corner, pushing Halifax right back towards the corner flag. Bouvin letting it run over the line. Metre short of the flag, coming back to a 10-metre scrum. To sound. Halifax players look looking a desperate bunch, but the Sheffield Eagles wanted it more. John Keir wanted to see some character from his players after the 40 points of 4 defeat at Warrington, and they certainly showed more character than Halifax this afternoon, leading 12 points to 8 in the break. keeping Halifax out in the opening moments of the second half, and that was the best of Halifax in that second half. It's been Sheffield Eagles all the way. Tries from Senior, a second for Cardoza. Pearson missed a couple of conversions in a penalty attempt. Kicked a conversion to Cardoza's try. Added on a drop goal for good measure, and the Sheffield Eagles worth the points in the end at the Don Valley, beating the Halifax Blue Sox. Sheffield Eagles 27, Halifax Blue Sox 8.